Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
welcome everyone for another auspicious day of Damodara month. We have today Riya, who's going to present
Hare
on
Krishna.
names of Lord Shri Krishna. So let's get started. I think I'll have to mute everyone and not give permissions to unmute because I hear a lot of noise in between. So I'm going to do that and then make Riya the co-host. So Riya, I'll make you co-host so that you can unmute yourself. And go ahead, Riya. It's all yours now.
I'm gonna sing Nanda Nandana Ashtakam first.
Okay.
Sucharuvatramandalam Sukarnaratnakundalam Sucharchitangacandanam Namami Nandanandanam Sudirghanetrapankajam Shikeshikandamurdajam Anangakoti모hanam Namami Nandanandanam Sunasikagramouktikam Swachandadantapanktikam Navambudangachikkanam Namami Nandanandanam Karena Venuranjitam Katikarindraganjitam Yugulapita Shovanam Namami Nandanandanam Tribanga Sundaram Nagajiti Sudhakaram Amoya Ratna Bhushanam Namami Nandanandanam Sugandha Anga Saurabham Uro Viraji Kaustubham Surachri Vatsalachanam Namami Nandanandanam Vrindavana Sunagaram Vilasanugavasasam Surendra Garvamochanam Namami Nandanandanam Prajanganasnayakam Sada Sukha Pradayakam Jaganmana Pralobanam Namami Nandanandanam Chinandanandanashtakam Patidya Shraddhayanvit Tatare Bhavabdam Drishtaram Navetadangri Yugmakam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Shwaram Sachitanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Viyolokala Davamanam Paramrishtamatyantato Dutya Gopya Tudantamuhurnitra Yugmam Mrijantam Karambojayogmena Satam Kanitam Muhushasakam Patridekam Kakanta Sita Garvam Damodaram Bhaktivardam Iti Driksvalila Derananda Kunde Sagoshami Majantam Apyapayantam Tadishitanyeshu Bhaktijitatvam Puna Primasasam Tattaviti Vande Param Devam Moksham Namokshavadimba Sachanyam Veneham Varishadapiha Idam Tiva Purnata Gopalabalam Sadani Manasya Virastam Chemanyai Idam Te Mukam Bodham Atyantanile Vritam Kundalai Nandasya Gopya Muhushungitam Bimbaratadharame Manasya Virasamalam Lakshalabai Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukkha Jalabdimagnam Kripa Drishti Vishyati Dinam Batanu Grahani Shama Magnya Nidhyakshidesha Kuve Atma Jaubadda Mutyaiva Yadvat Tvaya Muchitau Bhakti Bhajavidau Cha Tata Prima Bhaktim Kame Prayacha Namo Kshedraho Mi Sri Damodareha Namaste Sudamne Spuradipidamne Tadiyudarayata Vishwasya Dame Namo Radhikaye Tadiya Priyayai Namo Nandalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Rasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, the pastime I will be telling today is the story of how Lord Krishna saved Nanda Maharaj from Varna's abode. Varna is the Lord of the Sea. This is the 28th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nanda Maharaj observed the prescribed Ekadashi fast on the 11th day of the lunar month and then considered how to break his fast properly on the 12th day. Once the fast was over, you had to break your fast by taking a bath in the Yamuna river in the early morning. Before breaking his fast, Nanda Maharaj went to bathe in the river Yamuna. However, Nanda Maharaj got the time wrong and he went to take his bath at an inauspicious time. When Varna, who is the Lord of the Sea, saw this, he wanted to punish Nanda Maharaj, and so he told his soldiers to go and capture him. They did as they were told, and they took him to Varna's home in the ocean. When Krishna had heard that they had taken his father, he went with his brother Balaram underwater to rescue Nanda. When Varna saw Krishna...
hold on. Riya, we can't see anything. Is it only me? Shikruti, can you see anything? Thumbs down. Oh, now I can see. Go ahead.
When Krishna heard that they had taken his father, he went with his brother Balaram underwater to rescue Nanda Maharaj. When Varuna saw Krishna, he immediately started praying and released Nanda. Afterwards, he begged the Lord to forgive his servant for having foolishly arrested the king of the cowherds. When Nanda Maharaj saw this happen, he couldn't believe it. When he got back on land, he told everyone in Vrindavan about what he saw. When they heard about it, all the Gopas and Gopis started praising Krishna and realizing that he must be the supreme personality of Godhead. They wondered if they would ever be able to see Krishna's supreme abode. Krishna understood what all of them were thinking, so Krishna took them to see a glimpse of Vaikuntha Loka. They felt the greatest happiness to see Krishna's abode and Krishna in all his glory. What I learned from this pastime is that Krishna knows what all people are feeling and thinking at all times. And if you are a true devotee who keeps Krishna in your mind at all times while doing all your activities, then Krishna will take care of you and you will be taken to his supreme abode. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Riya. The nice pastime and also the nice messages. Krishna is residing in everyone's heart and he will know what we desire and he's recording all our thoughts and desires. As you rightly said, the verse that confirms this from Bhagavad Gita is chapter 15, verse 15. I think most of the kids know this. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto mattah smritir gnanam apohanam cha. Krishna says, I reside in everyone's heart and from me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So good job. Thank you, Riya and family, for hosting this event online today and giving us this nice pastime. Well done. Now we will move on to another presentation by Harini. Harini, you want to take over, beta? Harini, sorry, I'm going to give you the co-host. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Wow.
1 minute. So today I'll be sharing about Sukadeva Goswami. He was a devotee of Sri Radharani. In his previous life, Shukadeva Goswami was a parrot, but he was not any ordinary parrot. He was the personal parrot of Srimati Radharani. He used to take the messages from her to Krishna. When Srimati Radharani was about to leave this world back to the spiritual world, she told her parrot called Sukha to stay here. But the parrot did not want to stay here without her. Then Srimati Radharani assured him, whenever the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord are being narrated, you will not feel separation from me. Thus, the parrot Sukha started looking out for a place where Harikatha was going on. He finally reached Kailash, the place where Lord Shiva and Parvati live. Lord Shiva was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to Parvati. The parrot Sukha hid himself in the green leaves of the tree under which Lord Shiva was sitting and started hearing the nectarine pastimes of his beloved Lord. Lord Shiva was completely absorbed in reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Every few minutes, Parvati would make some sounds like, so that Lord Shiva would know that she was still listening. However, after some time, she went to sleep and stopped making any sound. And Shuka, who was hiding behind the leaves, started making sound in the same way as Parvati. When the Srimad Bhagavatam was about to end, Parvati woke up. Lord Shiva wanted to know how she liked the narration. Parvati begged forgiveness from the Lord and admitted that she had gone off to sleep. Lord Shiva was amazed and asked her who was making that sound. When she said that she did not know, Lord Shiva started looking around to see if someone was hiding and hearing these pastimes. He finally spotted the parrot hiding in the tree. Lord Shiva started thinking that the parrot was not qualified to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. If an unqualified person hears these transcendental narrations, there will be a lot of disturbances. Therefore, he wanted to kill the parrot immediately. Lord Shiva took his trident and ran toward the parrot. Seeing Lord Shiva, Shuka started flying away. Lord Shiva followed him. Finally, the parrot reached the hermitage of Srila Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva was narrating Srimad Bhagavatam to his wife Vitika. While hearing his wife yawn, at that point the parrot entered into her open mouth. 1 second. Finally, Lord Shiva also reached the hermitage. He inquired from Vasudeva if he had seen the parrot. Then Lord Shiva narrated him the whole incident. Lord Shiva told Srila Vyasadeva that anyone who hears Srimad Bhagavatam gets free from the cycle of birth and death and becomes eternal. Srila Vyasadeva commented that since the parrot had become eternal from hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, he could not be killed. So Lord Shiva went away. The parrot Shuka inside the body of Bitika took the form of a baby within her womb. However, he did not come out of the womb at the usual time. Instead of 9 months, he stayed in the womb for 16 years. This boy became famous as Shukadeva Goswami. He was the one who narrated Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. It was well known that Parikshit, the son of Abhimanyu and grandson of Arjuna, was cursed to die within 7 days when he insulted a great rishi, Shramika, by placing a dead snake on the rishi's shoulder when he was in deep meditation. Hence, the curse was given by Shringi, the Maharshi's son. By knowing the action of his son, the Maharshi counseled his son about controlling senses and anger, and also about forgiveness. He also told about the importance of a king and duty of citizens. Then Shamika Rishi sent a messenger to Parikshit to warn about the dangers. Then Parikshit was visited by Shukadeva, son of Vyasadeva. Parikshit wanted to know what a person who is destined to die soon should do. Then Shukadeva narrated the Bhagavata Purana. The king realized the mysteries of earthly life and was ready to accept his fate. This question and answer format the discussion of all the most important of spiritual topics became the Srimad Bhagavatam as we know it today. After the whole Bhagavatam has been discussed, Shukadeva concluded that for a person who is suffering in the path of countless miseries and who desires to cross the insurmountable ocean of material existence, there is no vehicle more suitable than cultivating a transcendental taste for the narrations of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What do we learn from Sukadeva Goswami? We should all attentively hear the pastimes of the Supreme Lord and understand the philosophy of our scriptures. Then we should preach to others so that they can also become devotees of the Supreme Lord. That is the perfection of hearing and chanting. Because he had first heard the Bhagavatam himself from great personalities like Lord Shiva and Sri Vyasadeva, we must hear from the devotees of the Lord and not just from anyone. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Leave the slide as it is, Harini. Leaves, and you did a wonderful job. Excellent. Nice presentation. But leave
Thank
this slide as it is so that we can discuss further on this messages of this pastime that you shared. So as Harini rightly and beautifully told about what is the purpose or what do we learn from Sukadeva Goswami? That we should all attentively hear the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So, and that's what we have been doing, right? We have been trying to at least learn one pastime or hear one pastime from the kids this entire month, because it's important. That is the purpose of human life, right? We have misidentified our purposes all these days, the purpose of us, of our life all these days, and we have been doing everything and anything that is not related to the real purpose. However, the real purpose is being established by acharyas and shastra, and that is having atato brahma jignasa, which is what is the purpose of my life? That's the question that Brahma had when he appeared in the lotus flower that came of the navel of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. So Brahma is asking this question. Brahma, who is the supreme, this is the creator of all the living entities, and he is asking, what is my purpose? However, we have missed asking that question to ourselves. Unless Shastra and Acharyas come and reveal that, we have to question ourselves, what is our real purpose? And it says our real purpose is to re-establish our connection with our Supreme Father. And how can that happen? Only through Acharyas and Shastras. That's why Shravanam through the Acharyas. And when we hear the narrations that have been given by Acharyas in the Shastra, then we look at the world in a different perspective. And that's called looking with the glasses of Shastra Chakshu. Our eyes will now become anointed with the information that's given in Shastra, and we start looking at the world with that information and with that knowledge. That's why we have to take the knowledge from Shastra and wear that glasses or have that vision of Shastra Chakshu so that we see things as they are. And then it says, we should all attentively hear the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And today, Harini, the way she narrated, I'm sure none of us could take our attention from what she was speaking so nicely, so clearly, so cutely, and so emphatically, right? So we should really take to heart whatever has been told in today's class, because that's the cream of the cream. It says we should all attentively hear the pastimes of the Supreme Lord and understand the philosophy of our scriptures. Because whenever we hear the pastimes of the Lord, there are two things that can happen. One is question as to, oh, why did that happen? Why did this happen? Why was Sita sent to the forest? Why was she not, why did she do this? Or why did God do that? Or why did this pastime happen like this? That is one type of thinking. The other thinking is, what is it for me to learn from this pastime, right? Because the purpose of pastimes is one, Supreme Personality of Godhead comes to the earthly planet to enjoy some rasas with his devotees, either it is the rasa of fighting with Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, or the rasa of devotion with his Dasya Bhava with Hanuman, or Sakya Bhava with Arjuna or Sudama, or other rasas with various levels of devotees and various categories of devotees. That is one purpose why pastimes happen. The second purpose, which is more applicable to all of us, is what do we learn from these pastimes? What is in it for me? What is a message I can take, and how am I to conduct myself based on this pastime? So that's the importance that is being said in the second half of the second sentence here. Understand the philosophy of our scriptures rather than questioning, because God can do anything. With our little brains, we can't understand every detail of every pastime that we read, because we are not at that level. If we ask a kindergartner to understand calculus, it is never going to happen. It's impossible for a kindergartner to understand calculus. He can only understand calculus when he promotes himself to various grades and comes to that high school or college level math. That's when he will understand calculus. But the fact that kindergartner does not understand calculus doesn't mean calculus is wrong, right? It doesn't make calculus wrong. It doesn't mean calculus is completely absurd or something like that. Similarly, the fact sometimes we may not understand the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, like in this case, we have heard how Shukadeva Goswami enters the and the mouth, the open mouth of Bitika. Is it Bitika, right, Harini? Bitika, right? So and then
Yes.
he moves into the womb of Bitika, and then he's the child of Bitika and Vyasadeva, right? Now there might be so many questions in that, but for us the message is the devotion with which this parrot was listening and the conviction the parrot had in Srimad Bhagavatam, and how Shukadeva Goswami resided in the womb of his mother for 16 years just because he understood that once he comes out into this material world, he'll be trapped by Maya. Right? He knew. And if Sukadeva Goswami, who has understood Bhagavatam, who has taken it to heart, and who knows who is actually what he's one of the Param Vaishnava. If he is thinking that if he comes into the material world, he will be trapped by Maya, then what about each one of us? We are in nowhere advanced or knowledgeable or renunciated or in any way elevated like Sukadeva Goswami. So there is high probability or complete probability for all of us to be trapped in Maya. And how careful should we be? That is the message that we have to take from that pastime. So the reasons that pastimes happen, as I mentioned already, is because Krishna wants to enjoy the rasas with his devotees in various forms. And the other one is for us. He's doing a favor to all of us. The entire Bhagavatam is full of pastimes. And why? So that we learn what Ajamil did, what Shukadeva Goswami did, what Sudama did, right? I mean, we have to do Gajendra Moksha also pastime. There's so many pastimes that with how Krishna destroyed all the demons. All those pastimes have messages for us to take some philosophy from it and apply in our day-to-day life. The next line says, then we should preach to others so that they can also become devotees of the Supreme Lord. So when we hear attentively and when we understand the philosophy of scriptures, the first symptom that occurs in a person who has heard attentively and who has understood the philosophy is he or she experiences bliss or happiness. And the way happiness multiplies is when we share with others, right? I mean, if we are true well-wishers of our family, because charity begins at home, you can go and give in charity to outsiders when we are not fully equipped within our family. So charity begins at home. Of course, we try to give the knowledge to the family members first. It's only up to the extent of attempting to give. After that, what happens is not in our control. We do our best, and that is the part that we take care. Leave it to rest to Krishna. Krishna will take care of everything that has to happen after we do our best. So once we take on to this knowledge, we get that symptoms of happiness and bliss, we start talking to others about how this knowledge is the true knowledge and how it can help us elevate our consciousness. It doesn't mean that just because we are talking to others, or most of the times we are scared that, oh, I'm not following, I myself don't do what is being told in Bhagavad Gita, then how do I tell to others? It doesn't mean that if you tell to others, that you should start telling to others only when you start practicing. It should inspire us to practice, definitely, but it should not stop us from talking to others just because we haven't completely practiced it. Because Krishna, Prabhupada says, who can start giving this knowledge to others? One who has faith in this philosophy and one who has started chanting the names of the Lord. They can go and start talking about Bhagavad Gita's importance and how it helps us have the real vision. So what happens when we preach to others? They can also become devotees of the Supreme Lord. Again, who is a devotee? Who has faith, and faith can move mountains. Remember the cobbler and the rich merchant story, the Brahmana, the elevated, not the who was really well versed with Shastra Brahmana story. There was this cobbler and the Brahmana, and Narad Muni was both of them, and both of them asked the same question: can you please check with Lord Narayana when I will be liberated? The cobbler asked the same question, and then Narayana asked the same question. So Narad Muni goes and asks Narayana, cobbler is asking and the Brahmana is asking, when will they get liberated? Then Narayana says the cobbler is going to get liberated right after this lifetime, whereas the Brahmana, he has many, many more lifetimes. And then after Narad Muni goes and tells the Brahmana that it seems it's going to take you so many lifetimes, the Brahmana is so upset. He says, are you crazy? Do you have your senses? Did you really see Narayana? I don't think you met Narayana, because if you met Narayana, that is not what should happen, because I am supposed to be liberated right now. I mean, right after this lifetime, because I know so much Shastra, I know so many rituals. And so that's what the reaction or the response of the Brahmana was. Whereas the cobbler, when he hears that, he's jumping around with happiness. And then Narad Muni asks, why are you jumping around with happiness? And he says, see, I am such a fallen soul. I don't have any knowledge of scriptures. I don't really follow rituals. All I believe and have faith in that Supreme Personality of Godhead. And with that conscience, I perform my activities. But I'm just wondering how I deserve to get liberated. But I trust the Lord, and Lord can do anything. So that is the faith that the cobbler had, and that's the faith that moves Krishna, and that the devote, and Krishna is pleased by that faith in each one of us. So that's what it says. So preach to others so that they can become the devotees of the Supreme Lord, and that is the perfection of hearing and chanting. Shravanam and Kirtanam should bring this transformation in us. And because he had first heard Bhagavatam himself from great personalities like Lord Shiva and Srila Vyasadeva. So it's also important that we hear Bhagavatam from the right source. Unfortunately for all of us, we have Srimad Bhagavatam translated in English by Srila Prabhupada, who is the perfect Acharya, who is presenting philosophy as it is to all of us. So reading Bhagavatam, that is translated by Srimad Bhagavat by Srila Prabhupada, is going to cover this sentence for us, because Bhagavatam from great personalities. So Srila Prabhupada is one of those great personalities. And we must hear from the devotees of the Lord and not just from anyone. This is also another important sentence, that we have to make sure that whoever is giving us this knowledge is a devotee of the Lord. Again, who is a devotee? Who chants, who has strong faith, and who tries their best to follow the instructions that have been given in Bhagavad Gita. On that note, I want to stop. Once again, nice presentation, both Riya and Harini. Thank you to both of you for the wonderful job. Okay, I'm going to unmute you all now. We'll meet again tomorrow, same place, same time. We have, I think, only 5 more days. 18th is the last day of so 18th is the last day of Kartik month, and let's all meet and listen to all these wonderful kids doing nice presentations. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.